What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of the Curfew Boys. Before we get things started, if you like what you hear, you can listen to us on any podcast platform like Apple, Spotify, or Google. If you want more content from us, you can follow us on Instagram, X, Facebook, TikTok. And if you want to see our beautiful faces, you can subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Boys,
It's free.
and it's free, yes. And please give us an honest rating. You want better content? We want to hear from you guys. Guys, let me introduce you to my boys. We got Fireman Sam in the house. What's up?
Hey now.
We got GQ Chris.
Hey now.
And we got Statman Joe.
You saved the best for last. Hey now.
And I said that because
Don't make me barf.
you guys smell it in the air. I know we're a Habs podcast and we love hockey and we want the NHL season to start.
Yeah, I'm gonna barf.
But before the NHL season hits, we got the NFL season coming. Preseason just started. I'm excited.
You're
Joey,
excited
are
for
you
three wins this year?
Excited for 2.5
No,
wins.
I'm watching actual sports in the Olympics this summer. So yeah, right.
Football season. We're 3 weeks away. I'm excited. I'm pumped.
For
That's
three
good.
wins.
For 3 wins. Hey,
Okay.
I follow my team to the end, Joey. Not like
That's
you. You
true.
just change every year.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
How you guys been doing? How's everybody doing? Summer so far? You guys having a good summer?
Good, we're back.
I'm ready. I'm ready for the NHL season to start. I'm not gonna lie. I'm ready for it.
I'm quite excited. I'm with Anthony. Jokes aside, NFL season starting for me. Soccer. This weekend already starts the Premier League, not the Premier League, but the Cup, and the next weekend European League starts. So it's already coming along, and NFL, and then hockey. Right? October is the best month for sports. You got every sport playing at the same time. So that's coming up.
Damn right.
Yeah. Well, whatever. I'm actually enjoying what the Montreal Alouettes are doing. If you're gonna talk about football, they gotta.
You have to enjoy what LA are doing. Come on.
What is LA
Rams.
doing?
Yeah, they're doing nothing.
They're gonna
I'm
compete.
enjoying that. They're doing nothing.
Who?
They're gonna compete.
Who are you talking about?
Let's talk about the LA Rams. They're not important.
Rams.
Who is that? Who is that?
It's
They're
a
gonna
team in
compete.
the NFL that they're not important.
Whatever.
You know what? I'm actually so happy that the NFL is coming back because just the banter and the bickering and the little pot shots between Anthony and Joey are gold.
It's gonna be hilarious. That is true.
Oh yeah.
But
Oh
then
yeah.
on the
Welcome
but
back.
then on the weekend,
Tis the season.
but then on the weekend, he'll ask me, Joey, do you think this player is gonna get this many yards? Because I have a bet on it.
I can't wait for that. I actually did my first bet tonight. I did a stupid preseason bet with a friend of mine. It's not coming in, that's for sure. The Pats are under. I thought they were going to go over. It's 16-0 in the fourth quarter. I still have a chance. But anyways, guys, so much is happening in the Habs world. I know we're boring our fans with all this banter.
I'm sure our
But
fans
more
love,
banter. More banter
there's
will
a lot
be
of-
coming.
There's a lot of our followers that follow the NFL.
Yeah,
NFL. You know what? Real quick, I look forward to see what that NHL documentary on. I want to say it's coming out on Prime, right? It's so two things actually. I'm looking forward to see that documentary on the NHL documentary on Prime following 12 players, and then the Montreal Canadiens.
I'll wait for that.
Behind the scenes of the rebuild on Crave. I cannot wait for that. And I pray to God it really puts not so much the Montreal Canadiens do not need a documentary to be put on the map because they are the hockey gods of the world. But you look at how Netflix has the series quarterback and now has the series receiver, and not like the NFL needs any more marketing tools. There's even the documentary that my better half watched about the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. And just that alone was marketing genius with AC/DC. You know what I mean? So like that, like it's just I look what that's going to do for the NFL. Just the same way Drive to Survive did for the Formula One, brought in new fans. I hope the NHL. I hope this Prime documentary season 1 is a success, and I hope it brings the NHL to some kind of goes up a level or notch or two, however you want to say it, because I feel like the NHL needs it. and it's not going to compete against the NFL, no way, shape, or form, not in North America at least. But they need something. So, I just
well,
But
it works, right? Because Prime has done this for in soccer in England. They've done this for two big teams in Manchester City and Tottenham Hotspur. So they
Yeah.
do behind the scenes, and it's
Yeah.
successful. So it could work, and it should work for the NHL if it's done right. And I think it will work.
But where the NHL messed up is they only did it on the Maple Leafs, and so that
Yeah,
All or
they-
and
nothing.
you have Gary Bettman involved.
they glorified it. They glorified it only to watch the most beautiful season-ending episode ever of the Canadiens coming back, beating the Leafs down 3-1. It was awesome.
you know what? Like Joey said, I think if they do it right, it might even surpass everything else because we've been all not Habs fans, but all hockey fans have been waiting for something like this for so long.
Yeah,
Like the NFL every year. Okay, I know it just started with Netflix, but every year there's always something new with the NFL, and NHL has done nothing for a really long time. So
What has to be done, guys? The best NHL content that was released was done by HBO, and it was a
Oh my God,
24/7
yeah.
Road to the Winter
But
Classic,
yes,
especially
1000%.
when it was the New York Rangers, when the new with Tortorella, and then
Rangers
also
versus Flyers.
It was Flyers, Rangers.
Dude,
that
Pittsburgh-
one was
Pittsburgh versus Washington was the best one.
those two were just simply
Yeah.
incredible, and it was raw. It honestly didn't feel cut. Maybe there were a few things, obviously, that you're not going to get all access behind the scenes to all players at all times, but I felt as though when they were with the players, it was genuinely doing what they do in a day.
But this is why the Canadian series on Crave, I really think it's going to have that feel. Just because Crave, they own, I don't know if they own HBO, but they host HBO, the platform. So I think I want to say it's going to have that feel. I'm hoping to God it has that feel, but I feel good about it. So
anyways, and I hope they also.
I was just going to say any future content will be successful if they just don't include the Maple Leafs.
Don't worry about the Maple Leafs. We don't need the Maple Leafs.
But I think I also, just to close this topic up, but I really hope they also do, player behind the scenes, like the NFL, like these specifically did quarterbacks. So those like the 4 quarterbacks, the behind the scenes, what they do after the game, pre-game, their family life, their personal life, and now with the receivers doing the same thing. So like you see each individual player, how they are performing on the field, behind the scenes, and even at home. And I hope
they're going to do that.
Well, who's a perfect player for that? Slavkovsky.
I would put him, or even Cole too.
Yeah, Cole is just too much of a personality.
But I think,
perfect for this.
This NHL series coming out is focusing on 12 players. So I have a feeling it's going to go in that direction that Anthony said. And it's also done by I think it's the executive producers of Drive to Survive that did the Formula One series on Netflix. So I want to believe that this series is in the right hands and it was done by the right people. So it's season 1 of it. Let's see what happens, and maybe season 2 they do bring, either Slavkovsky or Cole. I really think they're going to bring in a Montreal Canadiens one way or another. It's all depending on the season they have, or at least how they do this upcoming season. They might even do Arber Xhekaj if he has like a monster season, which we're going to talk about like in the next few seconds. So
you see, with this offseason, we've had but not just Montreal, just in general, there's been quite a few things, even though we're in the offseason. For
know what? But I can't stress enough how great Kent Hughes and the Montreal Canadiens management have been sticking with the plan. Yep. They're not deviating from it. It's time to
Mark Bergevin.
It's time to start. Joe, let go of the past, for fuck's sakes.
Well, he couldn't stick to a plan if it fucking hit him in the face,
dude. Because he didn't have proper support like Kent Hughes has,
or he didn't have a plan.
He brought us to the semifinals and finals, so I think he did something good.
No. Carey Price did something good.
Carey Price brought us to it.
Let's stand by it. Mark Bergevin brought in some pretty damn good players through completely unbalanced trades favoring the Montreal Canadiens. But the second that guy had to sit in a room and sign a player, god damn it.
You know what? I think we're just
or draft picks.
look, I'm not gonna, I'm not here to say anything like say, oh, Benjamin did a great job, but I think his bad, bless you, his bad
Thank you.
signings are just
Bergevin
masking all the good that he did. Like, I'm not saying he was perfect. I mean, look, we've been fucking slumping for the last, what is it, 34 years now. We're getting to that point, like the late Maple Leafs soon. Can't believe I'm saying that, but it's we've got to that point. But I think out of all the GMs in the last since '93, Bergevin, okay, subtract Hughes and Gorton now. I'm saying up till now, before Hughes and Gorton, Bergevin has been the best one. Like you have, we've had a lot of good runs.
Yeah,
and he built the future. Like everything that we're seeing now is a big part. Bergevin is a big part of it.
He found Xhekaj.
Yeah,
Suzuki,
he drafted
Xhekaj, Cole.
He drafted Guhle.
He
Bergevin,
traded for Suzuki.
Bergevin has done well. Sorry, I deviated this off a joke, but Bergevin has done, I think, all right. It just like Anthony and Chris said, the bad stuff he's done, it's so bad, it's masked.
It's
a
masked
lot of
all the
good.
good.
You know what Bergevin was good at doing, and I'll say it like this: 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 1 step forward, 2 steps back, and it was repeat 2 steps forward, 1 step
forward,
back.
5 steps
It
back.
really was that, like, unfortunately, not that it didn't amount to anywhere, but it was only gonna, like, surprisingly it lasted the way it did. But then, like, after the COVID season, it was like, yeah, it's
well, believe
going
it or not,
this to Hughes. I was just gonna say going this to Hughes. I thought we were gonna transition. Is to me, Hughes is going 2 steps forward and maybe half a step back because there's no one that just goes step forward.
What's the half a step back in a rebuild like this?
I never give anybody steps forward without taking steps back. That's anybody in any.
What's a step back? The only step back I can think of is maybe a trade or two here and there, or a signing here or two that leads to a player that's too injury prone, and fuck, we lost a bit of that quality player.
Okay, well, you know what? The step back could be if Doc doesn't have a full season again this year.
That's why I put half.
That could be your step back.
I want to get to that later.
Because that was a big move of getting rid of, mind you, Romanov. He's not really doing much wherever he is.
No, it's not about getting rid of him. It's who we got back for him.
Exactly. So I think if Doc has another bad season this year, or not bad, doesn't have a full season, then that could be your step back.
Probably.
Sam, there's stuff like Reinbacher that's out there. I'm not saying he's going to be bad, but we don't know yet. I'm just saying there's a lot of questions. I don't think any GM, player, athlete ever takes steps forwards without having steps back. No one's perfect. To me, if you keep going forward, you're perfect the whole way. But half a step back, that's a huge giving him a huge credit. I didn't give.
I'll take your word for it, guys. Let's please. I really want to talk about these 3 sightings. Okay, so
we're on Hughes.
We're on Hughes. Well, listen, that's all Kent Hughes has been doing is building the future and even building the core. So when the news break out, July 30th, the Montreal Canadiens signed Arber Xhekaj to a 2-year deal worth $2.6 million. So that's going to pay him $1.3 million a season for the next 2 seasons. And then not even an hour later, maybe not, I'd say probably not, they signed Justin Barron. Same thing.
That surprised me though.
I'm not surprised, but I want to talk about one individual contract at a time, and then we will talk about them collectively as the defensive core of the team. Then Justin Barron signs 2-year deal at $2.3 million, just $0.3 million less than Xhekaj, which is going to pay him at an average annual salary of $1.15 million. And then not even 24 hours later, Kaiden Guhle, 6-year extension at $33.3 million, an average annual salary of $5.55 million.
That takes him to what years old for Guhle?
Guhle's got 1 year left, and he's
22. He's 22 right now, so he's going to be 28.
He's going to be a free agent at the end of that deal, right?
He's going to be right in his prime.
Yep. Yeah, he's gonna be a UFA at the age of 28, 29, depending what his birthday is. But listen, guys,
January.
Okay, so let's talk about the contracts individually. Talk about the players and like what am I expecting for each of these players or each of these defensemen, especially that the defense continues to be the main subject of concern on this team, but in a good way. Listen, I actually thought Arber Xhekaj was going to get. I thought he was going to get a 5-year deal. Also, try to avoid a bridge deal. He's a little bit older than Barron and Guhle. Bring him up to the age of 27, 28. Same thing. Make him a UFA. But I truly believe it's the Canadiens love Xhekaj. They know what his potential could be, but he's got to show it now. Like these next 2 seasons are, well, for me personally, they're extremely important for both Arber Xhekaj and Justin Barron. But I'm going to stick to Xhekaj for now because, look, he had a bit of a wake up call. It's like, listen, you want to stay in the NHL, you need to play like you belong in the NHL, and he was showing a bit of tough love from Marty. And by being sent down to Laval, he was shown a bit of tough love by Kent Hughes and management as well. But Chris and I have been to some games in Laval where Xhekaj was there, and you saw that's like, no, this guy's a step above everybody else in that fucking arena. And that's why it didn't take him so long. He played, 11 games, I think? Played something like that, 11 games in the minors. When Arber Xhekaj came back, like, that's when his best hockey started. Maybe his first game was at his first game when he got called back to the Canadiens against Pittsburgh, which was an insane game. The Canadiens lost in shootout, but it was just awesome to see Crosby and Malkin and Erik Karlsson, even though they're past their prime. Anyways, but after that game, like Arber Xhekaj, that game, you could tell he was nervous, but he kept his game simple. But after that, he just kept getting better and better and better until he had another season-ending injury. So I saw the interview. I saw the press conference that Xhekaj gave. The kid's ready. And I believe that this kid is going to stay in the team. He's going to be a regular in the lineup. And I fucking love the message he sent that, like, you're not going to take run at any of my guys. Because if you do, like, I'm coming after you. And I love the tools I have. Yeah, I know what I could do with the puck on my stick. I know what game I could bring. But you're not going to take liberties on any of my players because I'm going to come after you. So to have those 2 elements, he says, I actually think that's great. So I personally think he's going to be fine. He's going to be okay. I still think he's going to have to play. I don't see him playing more than 15, 17 minutes because if he plays more than that, maybe his quality of the game can drop a little bit. I think for now, if you give him 15 minutes, a bit of time on the power play, definitely on the penalty kill, he's going to be okay.
Did you think he was going to sign a bridge deal, Sam?
I thought he was going to get at least 4 or 5 years.
Did you prefer longer?
I mean, look, listen, right now he's got a 2-year deal at $1.6 million. Is that right? Yeah. Is that what I said? 1.3, excuse me. 1.3. If he signs an extension, I don't see him making more than 4.5 million. I think that's where yeah.
See, that
he's got to earn it, but I actually see him make that, and that's my max. I don't think he's worth more than that because I still don't see him being a top 4 on this team. With Reinbacher coming up, with Logan Mailloux coming up, with Lane Hudson, I don't see him that. But it's okay. It's not a bad thing if Arber Xhekaj is your number 5 on this team.
Yeah, but that's where you brought to my point to finish off. I personally love the bridge deal. I think if he would have signed longer, he would have been overpaying for what he showed. Could he have potentially gotten better from it? Absolutely. Could have gotten better, but I don't think the Canadiens should have taken that chance. I don't think he's a $4.5 million player. I know the value he brings, but I think he's more of a 3, maybe 3.5 max.
But that's
max in his peak. That's so I'm happy they did the bridge deal. I think it works for both parties. I think Ken Hughes would have I would have given him like an L if they signed him long term for like not double, but he would have never accepted in the 2 million range signing a 5-6 year deal. It would have been 3+. I think that would have been a mistake by Hughes, but this one I definitely give him a W.
I think this is a big W because he's a type. As much I'm not going to downgrade Xhekaj. He's a great player. He has a lot of value, and the style that he brings to the team, that toughness that we don't have yet, right? We still don't know the team. This team does not have what's the word I'm looking for? Not a vision.
Enforcer?
No, what I'm trying to say is that the style of play, we don't know what it is. Is it a speed team? Identity. We don't have an identity yet. We have a young core. That's the identity right now, like being young and growing. But the identity of, is this going to be a talented team, or is it going to be an enforced team like the Boston Bruins? Is it going to be a mix? We don't know yet, right? So Xhekaj is that guy where this 2-year deal is like, okay, in 2 years we'll find out what direction this team wants to go. Are we keeping a Xhekaj and start bringing more enforcers to be the Boston Bruins type team, or let's get rid of him? Because I don't think he's a good asset guy. He's a player that I see leaving in 2 years. Build value and get rid of him.
Fuck Anthony. No. I'm gonna fucking jump through the
No. Hold on.
Chris is about to rip you apart.
You hit a heartstring over here. I'm pissed off right now.
Hold on. Depending the identity the team decides to choose to go what direction they want to go. That's what I'm saying. A 2-year deal is, let's test them out. Let's test out this team. Let's build this structure. Let's see where we are in 2 years. Are we going that direction? Maybe not. We don't want this. So you know what? Because we have the Reinbacker coming up. We have the Mailloux. Let's see how these guys come up. Maybe we don't need I'm not saying I don't want him, and I think we need him. I'm just saying I don't think Hughes knows what he wants for this team yet.
If Chris was at your house, he'd be ringing. If Chris is in Laval, he'd be ringing at your doorbell.
I don't want to get rid of Xhekaj.
No, okay. For entertainment purposes,
but you know what I'm trying to say, right? Like, I don't think they have that identity yet.
He's not like an untouchable, Anthony, in lack of better words. He's not an untouchable player.
But that's why the Guhle is untouchable.
Right. Yeah.
And why I would give Guhle that 6-year contract. Xhekaj is like, we'll give you 2 years, bring up that value, show us what you want, show us what you got. And if you deserve to stay here, we'll keep you. If you're not, then we'll trade you for assets later on.
To me, that resembles Romanov. Sorry, Chris, you can go ahead. I was just saying that resembles Romanov in terms of how they see him, not style of play, whatever. No. Like, he has some value, but I don't think he's like that end all be all where they have to keep him at all costs. I'm saying if there's something good that can come up in the future,
that's what I'm trying.
He's not an untouchable player that they'll never ever get rid of. But I don't see it happening. I'm just saying. Anyway, sorry, Chris. Go ahead.
No, it's all good. So look, the Edmonton Oilers call up the Montreal Canadiens and they say Draisaitl is available, but we're looking for a guy like Xhekaj to go the other way. Obviously, I'm listening, and he's not untouchable in that sense. But Xhekaj is one of those guys, in my opinion, that's very close to being untouchable. Disregard that $1.3 million in the 2 years that he signed for. I do think that he's going to be getting a contract extension. And I honest to God, think he's going to be one of the most important pieces on this team. I know how crazy that sounds when you have a guy like Demidov, when you have a guy like Hudson, when you have Cole Caulfield, Nick Suzuki, Doc, Slavkovsky. I understand, but I think you absolutely, and let's throw Kaiden Guhle evidently into the mix of those names, but I also do think that Arber Xhekaj's name is kind of right there. It's etched right around, and I think he has to be around these players. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it again. Arber Xhekaj is going to allow for a style of play that's going to be more loose. It's going to allow for more creativity. He's going to allow for more creativity on the ice. He's going to allow guys like Demidov to truly do what they want with the puck, knowing that you come close to him, you're dead. Arber Xhekaj, hands down, I think he's one of the top 5. I would argue that he's probably one of the top 3 fighters in the league, but he's one of the top 3 fighters in the league definitely who can actually play hockey. Mm-hmm. The other element that Arber Xhekaj is bringing to the table, and I think it's only going to be coming to fruition more and more, look at this guy's clapper on the back end. When you watch this guy take slap shots, he's actually putting up a fairly high amount of goals miles for the amount.
107.2.
But it's
107.2
accurate
miles
as
per
well.
hour, huh?
He's not. I don't think he's going to be a super power play guy. He might be a guy on the power play if somebody gets injured. One of the left-handed defensemen gets injured. He's obviously not going to be one of the first guys on again. But nevertheless, Arber Xhekaj brings so many intangibles to this team. And I think that identity that you're talking about, it doesn't matter if it's a team that's going to be full of Crosbys with one Arber Xhekaj on the back end. Arber Xhekaj is one of those unique guys who can stabilize a game just by being on a bench, which is a scary thought. He's also going to be, I think, a guy who's going to just, on top of the physical game, when the game starts to get out of hand and calm the game down, he's just like, we were around, like Anthony and Sam, we saw him at the golf tournament briefly. The guy has an aura. Like he just seems so calm.
He has that it factor.
He's almost got like Kaiden Guhle aura to him, strangely enough. He's not as talented. I'm not saying he's Kaiden Guhle on the ice. I'm just saying it's one of those characters that we need around this team that we've been missing for so many years. And I think I'm going to go back to the point that I made before. I think Arber Xhekaj is just about there as one of the untouchables. Don't overpay him, but he's going to be one of the fan favorites for years to come.
He has that rarity of being able to fight and actually playing hockey, so that's a rarity these days.
But
so
if you look at enforcers now, today's NHL, the ones that can fight, they could all play hockey in a sense. They're not.
Ryan Reeves can't play fucking hockey.
Yeah, but Ryan Reeves is also 30. He's 37 years old.
Nevertheless, Tom Wilson is starting to get up there in age.
Of course, you tell me Tom Wilson in his prime, we all would have killed to have a Tom Wilson on our team.
I would still kill to have Tom Wilson on the team. All I'm trying to say is that there are a lot of enforcers that are on the back half, the back nine of their career, it's starting to calm down. And Arber Xhekaj is going to be one of the new modern day NHL enforcers.
And I couldn't disagree more.
God help us. I don't want to fucking play a single game in the history of the NHL with Arber Xhekaj wearing another jersey, because I fear that reality.
But what I'm trying to and I couldn't disagree more.
I have something to say after Anthony, by the way.
I couldn't disagree to anything you said, and please don't take this the wrong way. Like, I don't want to lose Jack. I think he's a valuable piece to this team, and it's something we need. Right? You need that. We all said it so many times. This in hockey, you need that guy to scare the other players, because if you don't have that, we're gonna get stepped on. Right? You need a guy who's going to protect, Cole and Suzuki and Demidov and all these guys.
It's going to be a big factor for this.
Anthony, if I may interject, if I may.
Yeah. But
this fucking day, the fact that Gomez and Giunta went to go poke Chara with the stick, what you're going to say? What are they going to do to Chara? Yeah, I understand. I completely understand.
Spot check, remember?
If I'm on the fucking ice, maybe I'm just a hothead. I don't play in the NHL. I don't have any money on the line. It's not my career on the line. But the fact that nobody did anything fucking dirty to that piece of shit,
when he hit Pacioretty,
we got pushed around for fucking years, and Arber Xhekaj is going to be the end of that bullying that the Montreal Canadiens have suffered.
And that's what we want, and that's what we need, and that's what I hope that we state. What I'm trying to say, and I'll say this once, and then I'll make Sam speak, is that the reason why I was saying I like this 2-year contract is, if it comes to a point, and everything you just said is it's making this player so valuable, right? A guy who can enforce and play. If come down the line, we're 2 years in this rebuild, we're almost there. The team is ready to contend, but we're missing that star player or one more piece, right? I see Xhekaj being that asset to get rid of, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, like what Joey said, he's an untouchable person. He's a player that's right now not untouchable. He could be that player with his talent, but I see him go to fill in a piece in the 2-year mark. That's all I'm saying.
So,
he's good.
We need that piece to contend for the playoffs. We actually need Arber Xhekaj for playoffs. That's going to be where the real test comes in for Arber Xhekaj and his play. And if you looked at the way he played in his final year in junior with the Hamilton Bulldogs before they switched to Brampton, him in those playoffs was a menace. And he was a force to reckon with. He was a man amongst boys. So teams look at that. General managers look at that. So when the game elevates, you got to see if the player is able to elevate as well. And again, there's not that much fighting going on in the playoffs, but it's a much rougher game than it is finesse. So that's where a guy like Arber Xhekaj is supposed to thrive. Now, it's funny you mention it, the 2-year deal, because I had that same thought, Anthony, that if for some reason and hell freezes over that Kent Hughes gets a deal that he cannot refuse, it's a tradable contract. The contract is tradable. I'm not saying I don't want him to go anywhere. We're all on the Arber Xhekaj bandwagon, and for great reasons. But I think that contract is, again, if hell freezes over and Kent Hughes gets a deal he cannot refuse, that contract is tradable. The same thing for Justin Barron. Justin Barron's contract is very tradable.
I think it was traded eventually. I think it'll be
traded.
What
I mean,
why?
And
that's the one that's going, Anthony.
I
said that's the one. That's the contract that's being traded in 2 years. That's the guy.
I was surprised.
No, but this is Justin Barron. Look, might as well get. We're in it right now. This is like, if we think Arber Xhekaj, like this is where he really needs to prove. I think Justin Barron he's got to prove even more.
Is he even going to start?
Yeah, he
has to.
If they send him to Laval, he's got to clear waivers, and I think he's going to get picked up.
So hypothetically, we're thinking he's going to start with Xhekaj because that's what I see happening.
I see that happening too on the third pairing.
But
this is Justin Barron's. This is just like Justin Barron has.
What are they gonna do? Again, there's that log jam, right? You got Jordan Harris. I know the whole right side, left side. You have Jordan Harris. You have Jaden Struble.
Struble's. I'm willing to bet all my money I have Jaden Struble starting in Laval.
And Jordan Harris, he's the backup.
Jordan Harris, Justin Barron, you're number 6, 7.
Yeah, but you saw that at the end of the last season, and that's why I was telling you when I said when we spoke about this contract, and I said I was surprised. It's because the end of last season, you saw the back and forth. They were rotating Barron, Harris, and Struble. One of those three was leaving this team. We all said that one of them is getting traded, and I thought Barron was going to be the one being traded because he has the highest. I think he has the highest value out of those three players.
Well, and he's got more offensive upside.
Yeah,
and you see it.
He hasn't shown it as much as
he hasn't shown it. And I think Sammy said on one of the episodes at the end of last season, or the beginning or junior off season, that this is, and you said it again now. This is the season where Barron has to step it up,
but
because he's and this trade with the signing with Xhekaj might push him to be a better.
And that's a tricky situation. There's one spot with three guys. You have to bring up Xhekaj's value. Barron's value without devaluing a guy like Harris. Maybe not Struble because you can send him down. How do you do it when you have one? I know there's going to be injuries or whatever, but you have literally one spot available
for three guys. Yeah,
that's gonna have to be Marty to decide. But again, for the sake of not losing Justin Barron for nothing, it's gonna be the same thing like Caden Primo last year. They're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna send him down. A young player like that, who, you know what, maybe just needs a different scenario. Again, I think another team will be willing to take it. The thing is about just like, he's still young, guys. Like, he's
22 years old.
He's 21, 22 years old.
Yeah.
He's still young, and he needs a guy like that needs reps. And when he's confident, like, he can play. He can play. Like, I wonder if the injuries kind of slowed him down a little bit to the point where, like, he plays scared. Because when he does play scared, you notice that too, and it's like, God damn it! Like, I personally think with Justin Barron, it's a bit of a confidence issue, but he has no choice but to step it up this year.
He was certainly a step above the one game I went to for Laval where they won like 6-2 or 7-2 or something. Okay. He played phenomenal. He was definitely a step above. Like, wow, like, if he can bring that confidence to the NHL, he can be a player. Maybe something you can run on the second power play. You have an extra ammunition.
I think so.
Thing is he's a confidence player. I mean, it's right to sign him because you don't want to lose him, and you can therefore trade him or maybe trade somebody else and keep him. but he's certainly a confidence player. And with the whole, this is this tricky situation with the whole rotating of defensemen.
Mhm.
When you sit him out a couple of games, that's where you lose him. That's the problem. So I don't know what Marty's going to do, but I think obviously I
don't
think
know
it's
either.
right to sign him.
Yeah, it's again, Joe. Like even in the minors, like him too with his skating, he's a step above.
Oh, he was a step above Sam. That game I saw with him, he was literally like head above everybody else.
But like you said,
Yeah.
Sammy, and you said it right with the Xhekaj and Barron contract, they're very treatable, which is a good thing. It's a smart.
It costs nothing for teams. They're only $1 whatever million they are.
But it's something smart.
I don't think it's going to happen. Let me make that clear. I don't think it's going to happen. At least for Xhekaj. Is it going to happen
I
for
think
Justin
more
Barron?
Harris.
Listen, I still personally think Logan Mailloux threatens Justin Barron's spot.
Yep.
Yeah, that's another one we didn't even include is Logan Mailloux. Yeah.
Listen, I'm telling you now, like I think Mailloux is going to start in Laval, but I think he's going to. I think he's going to be a last cut. I really do think he's going to be a last cut. And then you know what I think is going to happen? Here, my Anthony scenarios. Your first pairing in Laval is going to be Jaden Struble on the left, Logan Mailloux on the right.
So they're going to keep Harris and Barron in the
and then the second pairing in Laval, you could put William Trudeau on the left, David Reinbacher on the right.
Or to be quite honest, Sam, if you have that much of a logjam, look, I don't think it's a season we're ready for playoffs. I know it's his last year, but I'm not saying it because I dislike him or anything, but I think the smart thing to do is if you could find a trade partner for Savard. Because you have enough.
Savard, dude. If Tanev could fetch you a first round pick, so could Savard at the deadline.
We have the logjam now. We have the replacements, so that would open up a spot for somebody.
And I really hope it's the trade deadline or the offseason because I think one more year with Savard on our team will really benefit with these young players. I do not want to get rid of Savard right now.
Contract is done at the end of this upcoming.
That's why, I really hope that we can keep him this season. At least
and trade him at trade deadline. No, I hope we trade him not for his what I've said about him. You know, he's an okay player, but a tad overpaid. But it's more a fact that you want to get value back from him. You don't want to lose him to free agency. For
100%. But I think we already got that value. I think these players will get a lot of value just by him.
Yeah, but trade him at the deadline because to me by March, I think it's.
Who I'm calling this. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I think Lane Hudson's going to be paired with Savard this season.
Yeah, it's quite normal. Guhle and Matheson, I think it's
who's our top 6 this year? Hudson.
Sammy just threw another wrench into the planning mix.
Matheson,
I didn't throw no wrench in fucking nothing.
Lane Hudson wasn't even being considered by many because then you're going to have Guhle, Hudson.
There's no way Lane Hudson is not. There's no way Lane Hudson is not making the team.
No,
there's no way Lane Hudson is not making the team.
I know, but then somebody's playing on their off side, and you have left-handed defensemen. According to what you're saying, Sam, you have Matheson, you have Guhle, you have Hudson, you have Xhekaj. There are 4 guys already.
Yeah.
Then we have
Matheson's going to play on his offside. I'm pretty sure.
David Savard, and then you're basically saying that Harris
played on the right in college.
He played exactly, and Barron's a righty.
So. I'm just saying that's
Matheson's on his offside.
That's what it is, and
I think I'm with Sam. He's going to be paired with Savard, with Matheson and Guhle, and then the final pairing would be Xhekaj and one of the younger defensemen we're talking about.
Yeah,
Guhle, Matheson, Xhekaj, Hudson, Savard, and either Barron, Struble, or Mailloux.
I think Struble, you send him to Laval because he doesn't have to clear waivers, and you give him top pairing minutes in the minors.
The outside chance is Mailloux. The outside.
Question for you though: do you see Reinbacher playing in the NHL this year?
Reinbacher is no. I'm predicting this. I am predicting Mailloux gets called up when Savard gets traded, and
that's exactly what I'm saying. Mailloux is going to be the first guy to come.
I thought you said Reinbacher. I understood Reinbacher.
No.
I think Reinbacher gets called up for like the last game or 2 of the season.
Yeah,
kind of Hudson style. Yeah.
You don't see him play in the middle of the season if there's an injury?
No, I think it's
Oh,
Mayu.
there's an injury for sure.
I think Mayu. I think it also depends who gets hurt. Is it more of a defensive player? Maybe they do bring up Reinbacker. If it's do they need it? I think it depends what they see, what type of defenseman gets hurt.
And what happens if he has a great training camp?
Who?
Reinbacker.
Hudson did, Mayu did, and they still got cut. Didn't matter.
But no, Hudson was
Not Hudson. Sorry, Mayu. I think it was Mayu. One of them played well, a defenseman, and they got cut regardless. They were young in the last training camp. I don't think it's gonna matter.
Listen, I still listen. If Reinbacker plays so well, that's like there's no fucking way we could send this kid down. Hey, like none of these are bad problems, though.
No, they're good problems to have.
You probably have no bad problem.
Get on the phone, Kent, and work your magic.
You have to send. Then if you have to send somebody down, listen. Like guys have to earn their spot. At the end of the day, they have to earn their spot. They can't go there thinking, "Oh, the spot's mine." It's like no. Like Reinbacker should go and be like, "No, I'm going to give management and the coaching staff a hard time." Lane Hudson, he's going to do the same thing. Logan Mailloux, he's got to do the same thing. Same thing for Struble. Same thing for Harris. Like, dude, if anybody has to do that, like I said, it's Justin Barron, and you know what? Even Arber Xhekaj. I'm not so worried about Arber Xhekaj doing that. Justin Barron, he has to go and be like, no, you know what? This is my fucking spot, and I'm gonna fucking earn it.
The only three that don't have to earn it, that it's really solidified, obviously, Savard, Matheson, and what we should transition to now is with Guhle.
Go ahead, Joey. Take it away. Let's go.
6-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
What's the cap hit?
It's
5.55.
5.55.
5.55. Thank you.
And it's the total salary, everything about it. No signing bonus. Listen, I'm on Puckpedia right now because Cap Friendly, fucking Washington Capitals, had to ruin our lives with that, bastards. But the last 2 years, he's got a modified no trade clause.
Yeah.
So
but it's a good deal. I mean,
no performance bonus. The only base salary. Oh no, that's not true. That's my bad. The only base salary is the first year of his contract is $2 million. He got a $5 million signing bonus, then 5.25, 6.5, then drops 5.5, 4.5. So
to me, Sam, now all that bonus stuff doesn't matter. The only thing we fans really look at is the cap hit because we don't pay out of our pockets. So I mean, it's great.
Excuse me. Jeez, I understand that, but it still, like, the actual salary of that year still has a part to play for trades and such.
Could be, yeah, that's true. Very minor, but definitely there.
Yeah.
But that 5.5 million, I think it's a wonderful deal. The only thing I do not like about the deal is that I wish they had a way to sign him where he had was a year before he would become an unrestricted free agent, so they still had control to sign him to another long-term deal before. That was the only thing about the 6-year deal.
Yeah,
I think if you sign him 5 years, I think you get a year before he hits free agency, and then you can re-sign him again for a longer-term deal.
So the way they have it broken down here, his UFA year would have started in the 2029-2030 season, and they have him signed up till the 2030-2031 season.
So 1 year.
So there's an extra year. So within the final 2 years of his contract, he would have been
so
a UFA.
Okay, yeah. That's a little better. Maybe I was mistaken. I thought it was 1. I was gonna say sign him if it was 5 years, and then you have control. But now that you say it's a little better, just I didn't want him to be a UFA. But probably they were never gonna get a 4-year deal done. I'm sure it wasn't in the mind of Hughes or Guhle. I love the cap it. The only thing was the amount of years. I didn't want him to be a free agency because, at 28, you're still in your prime as defenseman.
But yeah,
it's hard to compete on the market. You never know what happens. I'd rather Montreal been in control, but overall, 5.5 million. I thought he would have gone 6+.
I thought he was worth maybe a 6.5.
Yeah, exactly. For what I consider to be given our project, the way we're trying to build, I'm considering our long-term number one right now until we see what everybody else comes in. I'm not considering Matheson, Savard, or any of those guys.
No.
They're not going to be part of it.
I think that 6.5 is it going to go to Lane Hudson? Shit, I don't know. I'm
Well, we can't. It's hard to tell, right? It's we can predict, but for me, great contract. I just hope they can keep him afterwards because I truly believe he can be one of our top pairings for years to come. So I'm happy with it. I have no complaints.
I just hope and pray to God he just stays healthy. Like, I need this kid to stay healthy. We need this kid to stay healthy. The team needs this kid to stay healthy. And I think he knows he needs to beef up a little bit. He is a big kid, but I think he's got to pack the pounds a little bit on him. But
it'll come naturally right around that age.
So. Yep.
It's like that age where you start to grow into a true man. I'm sorry to say, but at 18, even though you have your speed and you have your general strength, it's like Slafkovsky. Slafkovsky's a big dude, but I'm telling you, as heavy as he is, the guy is going to be a lot more muscular. Oh, mark my words.
Did you see the video of him kayaking and then falling in the water with his white T-shirt? And then when he stepped out, he honestly. He looked like you can fucking grade Parmigiano off his ass. It was like, what was kid's a fucking beast. But yeah, I totally agree with you, Chris. Like, I think that's gonna happen. That I think he will pack the
injuries probably slowed him down.
You know what, Joey? Do you remember that highlight of him skating backwards against? I don't know if it was
McDavid.
Was it against or was it no? It wasn't against the Flyers.
Well, one of the big things is that he had shut down McDavid. I think it was one of those games that McDavid didn't even register a shot.
Yeah, but what Sam is speaking about is he skated backwards and he kept up with the forward.
Dude, like just like he's skating backwards at like the speed of the speed of light. It was insane. I looked at that. I'm like, yeah, you know what? It's. You could tell that this management sees him as part of the core with just with that 6-year extension. Same thing they did with Slafkovsky. He's up there with Suzuki and with Caulfield now in terms of like the long-term deals. And I'm saying this right now, he's getting an A on his chest when either Matheson or Gallagher are gone. So he really is. This kid is a leader, and he said it himself. He was a leader in junior. I think he could be a leader within the pros, within the NHL.
You think he's our number one? Or will be? Well, considering what we have now, don't think of who we can draft or whatever.
Yeah, he's going to be playing 21, 22 minutes a game. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. You think unless if Matheson has a repeat season of what he did last year, do you still think
I'm talking long-term, Chris. I'm not talking
long-term. Yeah. Well, long-term, I still think our number one is going to be Lane Hudson.
See, I don't see. I mean, that's a debate for another day, but I don't see Lane Hudson as your number one.
Your number one has to play in all situations.
So, pause right now. So, Quinn Hughes is not Vancouver's number one?
Yeah, but defensively, Quinn Hughes is going to be better. I mean, projectedly is going to be better than Lane Hudson.
I argue against that.
I think Guhle is our number one.
Norris Trophy nominee?
A Norris Trophy nominee.
Yeah. Why was he a Norris Trophy nominee? Because the guy always had the puck, bringing it up the ice and making offensive.
Yeah, but he was good enough defensively. He was good enough. I don't think Hudson can get. I personally don't think. To me, if you're getting to that level, means you're going to be a Norris Trophy candidate. And I don't know if I see Lane Hudson there.
I'm not ready to say that Lane Hudson is going to be the absolute next Quinn Hughes. I'm just saying that his style of play is going to be very similar in that. Lane Hudson's going to get the puck, and I think it's going to go straight to the offensive zone. He's able to carry it out, and I don't think.
You really think Lane Hudson's going to be playing over 22, 23 minutes a night?
In the eventuality, just with what he did in the last two games at the end of last season, this guy changes the whole fucking game.
If you're hold on. If you're putting Lane,
I love him, but I don't see him playing. I don't see him playing top pairing minutes, dude. I really don't.
I don't see him playing a single minute on the PK, not one.
Of course,
but I see him playing.
That's required for number one.
5 and power play
22 minutes. But that's part of playing 21, 22 minutes. You do it on both ends.
You got to be an all-around player to be. to put on those.
Look,
minutes.
Lane Hudson could supply defensively.
I see Guhle being that guy, and he's going to be that guy. Lane Hudson, it all depends on But you're
Well,
right. I agree. But I agree with you.
But on the flip side, is Guhle going to be playing on the power play?
I want
don't
him on the
think so.
power play. I think he will one day.
When Matheson is gone, perhaps.
Yeah.
Let's just
I
say,
think so,
Chris,
yeah.
Guhle has more capabilities to play on the power play than Lane Hudson does to play on the penalty
But-
kill. There's more
Yeah,
potential.
yeah,
than
yeah.
and I know
Agreed.
it's only two
Great analogy.
games. I know it's only 2 games, but Chris said it, and we said it last year. Just those 2 games he played, every time he touched that puck, every time he's on the ice, there was magic that happened. I think we need to see more of Lane Hudson in the NHL.
course,
Yeah,
to
like a
find
full
out
fucking
what we
season.
want.
Yeah.
But just those 2 games every time he had the puck, there was a play that was made. Either defensively or
But the question
offensively.
is, can he become a number one? And that's where I'm with Sam. I think defensively, not that he'll struggle. It just he won't be put in some.
I see
key
him more of an
situations.
offensive. He's more of an
Yes.
offensive.
Yeah.
Yes, which is
100%.
you need. To me, he can be your perfect number 2, like in terms of your decor, because he's the guy you go to when you need offense. But your number 1 plays in every situation, like Quinn Hughes does. Even though he's touted as more of an offensive defenseman, he was playing every situation. Quinn Hughes. So it was
Sorry,
like
Joe, sorry.
Letang, etc. I'm like I'm talking about the number 1s, or Drew Doughty, etc. Like I don't think Quinn
Drew
Hughes,
Doughty in his
Lane
prime.
Hudson can be at that. I think Guhle can be closer to that than Lane Hudson can.
My dream scenario is, it's funny how I'm the one with the scenarios tonight. My dream pairings would be, I really think Kaiden Guhle, when he's 24, 25, if somehow Kent Hughes, if he's still GM, can find a right-handed pair defenseman, a bit more veteran, but still able to play with Kaiden Guhle. Your second pairing is Lane Hudson and David Reinbacher. And then your final pairing, you have Arber Xhekaj with Logan Mailloux. I think that's I think that would be awesome. That's like I'm going to fucking La La Land right now.
He's
dude.
in fantasy
Mailloux-
land.
no,
Sam.
Fantasy land.
Mailloux
Yeah.
and Xhekaj, I think you need to separate the 2 because they both have that.
Whoa! Did you see them playing Laval together, Anthony?
No, I think they're great together, but I think it's too powerful in the sense that maybe having them in different lines can give that. Because I see him also Mailloux as not an enforcer like Xhekaj, but he has that
Physical presence.
He's got grit. He's got grit, but he's more offensive than Xhekaj.
100%. But I think you need to separate that on the defensive side because if you have 2 grit guys, it's amazing for that one line, but then you're missing it out on the
Because
other line.
you also have that opportunity of having at least your second and third pairing to have an offensive defenseman with a defensive defenseman. You make Arber Xhekaj be that defensive defenseman with an offensive defenseman like Mailloux, and then if you
for the PK, pair them in a PK.
Anthony, I used to think of that separating guys based on their style of play and trying to put balance, but over the years, I don't know if that's the greatest thing because let's say you put Mailloux higher than, I don't know, someone like Reinbacher or let's say Guhle or something. I'm just giving an example to play with Lane Hudson. Mm-hmm. Let's just say in this, you're one of your famous scenarios. You have to unfortunately give him more minutes than another defenseman who you're pushing down just because of style of play. You're trying to balance everything. Yeah. I don't know if that's the best thing. I think if you're the best defenseman, you should play more minutes. But if you have Lane Hudson that you want to play 20 minutes a night, and then you have Mailloux that you want to only play 15, if they play together, well, you might eventually give more minutes to Mailloux than some of the other better defensemen just because Mailloux has some sort of style of play that fits better with Hudson in that sense.
Well, I picture Xhekaj and Mailloux, the Bash brothers from the Mighty Ducks. Like I visioned that, right? But
no, it's Xhekaj with Slavkovsky.
He was talking to the defenseman. I see his point. Maybe more Reinbacher. But imagine putting Mailloux higher than Reinbacher just because of style of play. You wanted to mix it, and Reinbacher is lower, then he plays less minutes in a sense. So
that's why you want to hope that this identity of the team is built like the Boston Bruins, because the Bruins does the talented and also enforcers everywhere, right? So every line had that one guy who can, like, I really hope Pezzetta stays. I love Pezzetta. And Not only for no, you put that face, but it's not for the talent wise.
I always put that face. Anything you say, I
for the grinding
Rams
role.
are amazing.
Hey, Tanner Pearson, the first line. Remember
He is
that,
the
guys.
first liner.
For
The Rams
the
are
grind,
amazing. Pull that face.
it's the grinding roles that like every player, even though they're a bit more on the offensive side with some elite skill, they had that grinder mentality, and that was the Boston Bruins culture. Like that. Look, say how you want that. Aside from David Pastrnak, but Krejci, Bergeron, Marchand, they played that way.
We all hate Marchand, but we'd love to have him on our team. Absolutely. He has
1000%.
everything, right? Talent and
If
grit.
you're gonna put Xhekaj and Mailloux together, then I'm hoping that we have that other style enforcer in another line, so we can.
Well, you have
that
Reinbacher.
talent
Reinbacher's physical. He has grit.
Well,
Ryan
guys,
Becker's a lot more physical than we think.
like Sammy, I want to go back to that point. If you're talking about Reinbacher, I am going to be extremely disappointed if we drafted that guy and he's not even a top 2, like on the top pairing of defense. I'm going to have a problem with that.
I don't mind. I actually don't mind seeing.
on that top
I don't mind
pairing.
seeing a Guhle with Reinbacher pairing one day. I really don't.
It's to say, Sam, if he doesn't play well enough to be a top pairing, I sort of consider that a disappointment. At 5, considering what potentially else was out there, we'll see how the draft folds. But if you're drafting at 5, usually you're drafting a top pairing player if it's a defenseman.
I think so. But dude, there's no doubt that Reinbacher is going to be top 4.
But Sam, is that a disappointment? That's the big question.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Not in my books. No,
I disagree.
No,
I'm sorry.
You're telling me Jack Johnson, the first overall pick, was he a dynamic fucking defenseman?
No, but it's
a
bust.
disappointing pick, is what he was.
It's considered a disappointing pick. Absolutely. You ask anybody about Jack Johnson, it's a disappointing pick.
Dude, my point of all that is that sometimes you're picking the right. If David Reinbacher gets 0 points, but is a plus fucking 40 with a lot of hits and kills penalties and all that, dude, that's not a bust. That's what you need. You need someone that's going to play fucking defense. And if he was the best one to do it in his draft class, it's not a bust.
That's what we'll see. You're
whether it be points, blocks, defensive responsibility, I don't care. Reinbacher just has to be one of the 2 go-to guys in any given situation.
I'll stretch it to 3. Chris, I'll even stretch it to 3.
We'll stretch it to 3, but I'd be on the disappointed
Absolutely.
side.
On the defensive side of the rink here, between Guhle, Reinbacher, I'm trying to think of my top 4 here. This is who I think the top 4 are going to be. You're going to have Guhle, Reinbacher, Hudson, and Mailloux. Out of those 4, you're telling me David Reinbacher is not going to be the best one defensively?
No, I absolutely think
he's
going to
all around.
No, not you, Chris. I'm looking at Joey. Like I'm staring at Joey.
I'm talking all around. I always talk. You have to look at both ends of the ice, not just one end. You have to look at both ends.
Listen,
that's the way hockey is.
Okay, here. Okay, so you're telling me the way he fucking toe dragged in his very first.
I'm not saying he's
game in North America, like
you're getting very defensive. But I'm just saying if he's considered your
we're
number
talking about
4,
defense, aren't we? So
if he's considered your number 4.
Mm-hmm.
Drafting him at 5 to me, and I think to Chris, I think would be a little disappointing because you expected him to be a top pairing, not a second pairing. Is it bad? No. That's why I would use the word disappointing. It's not a bust. It just we'll see what's out there. Maybe he is the best defenseman in the class. We have no idea. We absolutely have no idea. But we'll see.
I can't wait to see him this year play full season in Laval.
Absolutely.
I really can't. I really think so too. My question to you guys is it's a big question before we wrap things up. Like the 3 signings now, and for the amounts that were given to these 3 players, does it not make you feel that much more comfortable knowing that not that much money was spent, that leaves a lot more room to go fetch a player in the near future? Like we're waiting for
overpay.
we're waiting for at least 2-3 contracts to finish at the end of this season. We're talking about David Savard, we're talking about Yoel Armia, and then we're talking about Christian Dvorak, and then there's a few other contracts that are, but like I think about it, the money that we saved, the salary cap's going up, and those 3 contracts are going to be gone. Like
Sam, I'm 5 major contracts leave. 5.
I know the other
2, yes, we are having a party we are having a party to celebrate. When
And
those
that party
5 are
will be
up,
raising
3 are
that
up
Stanley
this
Cup.
year. When the other 2 are up, no names to be mentioned, we are throwing a party.
I'm also thinking that Kent Hughes went into those negotiations knowing that he has to not only sign a guy like Lane Hudson, but he's gonna have to sign a guy like Ivan Demidov, and he's gonna need money
for
for
sure.
him.
And I think he will need to leave room. And when you compete for a cup, no matter what team you are, usually a trade deadline, you're going to make a trade for a player to help you. And normally that guy comes with a term. I think he has to leave room for it.
Absolutely.
And that will happen when the 5 contracts leave.
So in 3 years, because then there's gonna
We'll
be 2
have a
years
party
left.
in 3 years.
Well, are you including Carey Price's contract in that? Unfortunately,
No, because he's always been put on long-term injuries.
I understand that, but that's $10.5 million in free cap space.
Yeah, but it's put on long-term injury reserve.
It doesn't
But
necessarily
before the
mean
season starts, Joey, before the season starts, Carey Price counts on the books. So if the Montreal Canadiens want to sign a $10 million player and they bust by $10 million, they can't. They will get
can
penalized.
go over, but I think it's just there's more ways to maneuver around Price's contract because you can go over before the season starts.
There
You
is.
can around the 2 contracts that I still have not named that I won't name.
I know we know that, but just the fact that you have now officially $10.5 million within your
on the cap. To me, though, Sam, it affects less than those 2 players. I'm sorry, it affects us because he's going to go on injured reserve.
Josh Anderson has been training in Montreal. Like he's in Montreal like a lot.
He's that player that I'm going to be paying attention a lot this year.
Well, he's got to improve. Actually, I know I said we were going to wrap things up. I have one more question to ask. Did you guys hear what the rumors were to get Trevor Zegras at the draft?
Wasn't it Mayu? And
I don't know if I believe it.
Logan Mailloux, I forgot the name of the reporter that announced this, but apparently a deal was almost made for Trevor Zegras. The Canadiens were going to send Logan Mailloux and the 21st pick.
Would you have done it?
Pick. Oh my god!
You know what? After picking Demidov, fuck no. I'm so happy that we have another really good right-handed defenseman in the pipeline.
I mean, it's
rather
not
than having Zegras.
It's not out of the question. We could still try to do it, but I don't know if I believe it. The rumor.
I'm not sure if I've
done it. I'm on the fence. I don't know. Maybe that would have just exciting.
Apparently, it was the Canadiens that pulled the plug on that because I don't know. Either they don't want to get rid of Mailloux and they really wanted to pick Michael Hage, which obviously hindsight 2020, we're all happy they did that. But it's just a rumor. I don't know if it's true or not. But at the end of the day, I'm happy the deal wasn't done. I really think
as things go on, I think if Zegras has another year a bit like last year, and I don't think he's in the right mind frame, I think his value will go lower. And I think that's where Montreal, if they still want him, that's the time to get him. I think his value is going to keep going lower if he continues this way. And I think he will. I don't think he's in the right headspace in Anaheim. I think he's
got to be healthy too. He's got to stay healthy.
There's definitely a lot to tell, but I think Hughes will get him at a bargain price if they were to get him. They won't get him at the deal that was made.
I'm just saying the Anaheim Ducks have depth on defense too in terms of young prospect, and on the right side too. They're kind of like the Montreal Canadiens, just in the West Coast in terms of prospect depth. So
they don't have the same character that we do. They really don't.
Hey, I gotta commend the Ducks, Chris. They drafted what's his name that everyone was surprised about. Seneke. So they passed on Demidov. So
Seneke,
I respect the Ducks.
Mason McTavish. Man.
I respect the Ducks. So
look,
they did it.
They got a roster, man. They're going to be dangerous.
I'm not saying that they don't have good players. I am just saying, look at our players. What was the theme of this show? What was the topic of this show? We were supposed to spend 30 minutes talking about contracts. Here we are at an hour and 5 minutes. But again, these are 3 bargain contracts, easy to move. And I'm not going to say, let's say with Xhekaj and Barron because they're short-term contracts, but with Guhle, yet another young individual could have been a little bit more patient and got more money. What is he doing? Putting money on the table or leaving money on the table. to stick with the Montreal Canadiens and compete and have room for other players to come in.
The common theme amongst everybody, all these interviews, like I love the direction we're going, and I love the guys I play with. I love this team. Like I love
it reminds me of Kraft and the Patriots, you know.
Oh God, the NFL talk is what fucking prolonged this shit show in the first place. So wrap it up, Anthony. I'm fed up of hearing about NFL talk.
They don't deflate the
I
puck.
can't wait till they lose their first game.
They can't because they can't deflate pucks, Anthony. There we go.
Am I still in my 4 to 5 year timeline?
No.
What year am I at now? 3.
It's like 6.
You're
You
6.
said
Yeah.
you've been saying 6-7 years for 6-7 years.
You've been saying 6-7 years since 2020. So like,
Wait, when was the episode with the PlayStation guy?
Marc Dumont.
Yeah,
That was
that episode there. I still had 4 years left.
2022, I think. One of the 2 years.
So then I have 4 years. I'm still at 3 years, so we're good.
All righty,
Boys, let's wrap it up. To all our listeners out there, thanks for listening. If you want to hear more of our episodes, our future episodes, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any other podcast platform. If you want more content, you can follow us on Instagram, X, Facebook, and TikTok. And if you want to see our beautiful faces, you can subscribe on our YouTube channel. Get ready for more banter this season. NFL season is coming. So, Joey, to all our listeners and fans out there, there's going to be some fun banter coming up. Boys,
see y'all next time.
until next time.
Bye now. Good night.